Hello everyone.
I'm Johnny.
Welcome to M Decoded. The story takes place in Ueno. It's located in Taito Ward, Tokyo. This area is a hub for more than 6 railway lines, including the JR Shinkansen. It's easily accessible. It is the transportation gateway from Tokyo to the Tohoku region, often called the North Gate. The protagonist of the story is Takarajima Ryutaro, who is 55 years old. He owns several restaurants in Ueno, Tokyo, and is a well-known figure in the restaurant industry. His wife, Takarajima Nobuko, is 56 years old. The couple has 2 daughters. The eldest daughter is 28 years old and lives with her parents in Japan. The younger daughter is 20 years old and lives in the United States. One day in April 2024, the Takarajima couple, as usual, were riding their bicycles inspecting their shops in Ueno. But during this time, they suddenly and mysteriously disappeared. Leads suggest they got into a black car. What happened to the couple? Next, we will tell you the story of the Tokyo cross-shaped disappearance incident. April 16, 2024, was a Tuesday. At 6:50 in the morning, in Nasu Town, Tochigi Prefecture, 150 kilometers from Ueno, a forestry worker was preparing to start his day as usual. As he walked into the forest, he suddenly smelled a burning odor. He worried there might be a fire somewhere, and immediately became alert. He looked around, and after surveying the area, he saw smoke rising near a stream in the distance. He hurried over to investigate. As he approached, he was shocked by what he saw. He saw 2 objects resembling mannequins burning. Their surfaces were completely charred. It was impossible to tell whether they were mannequins or real people. So he took out his phone and called the police. The police arrived quickly after receiving the report. The forest was cordoned off. An investigation was launched. At the same time, some media reporters arrived at the scene after hearing the news. The case gained attention. After investigation, 2 human remains were found at the scene. They were crossed in a cruciform position. Their hands and feet were tied with ropes. Their heads were covered with yellow plastic bags, which were wrapped with thick tape. The flames on their bodies had not completely extinguished. The scene was very eerie. Nearby, police also found drag marks. There was an unused can of gasoline in the bushes. All indications suggest that the forest was not the primary crime scene. Initial speculation suggests that someone covered the victims' mouths and noses with plastic bags, causing them to suffocate to death. Then they were transported here to destroy the bodies. Based on the degree of burning, it was determined that the suspect had not left the scene long ago. The forestry worker told the police that this place is relatively remote. People only enter the mountains in early spring to pick wild vegetables or cut down trees. Normally, there is almost no one in the mountains. Only he comes to patrol the mountains. Because the bodies of the 2 victims were severely burned, it was impossible to identify their age with the naked eye. After removing the tape from their heads, it was discovered that their heads had suffered severe trauma and were disfigured beyond recognition. Forensic doctors confirmed the identities of the 2 victims through DNA testing. They were a Chinese-Japanese couple, 55-year-old Takarajima Ryutaro and 56-year-old Takarajima Nobuko. They both suffered blunt force trauma to the head, with multiple fractures, and both died of asphyxiation due to neck compression. The time of death was around 4 a.m. on April 16, 2024. It is understood that, reportedly, the Takarajima couple lived in Ueno, Tokyo. They owned more than a dozen restaurants there, and were very famous. The husband immigrated to Tokyo from northeast China in his early years, perhaps to better integrate into local life. He gave himself a Japanese name, Takarajima Ryutaro. In his early years, he worked many jobs. Later, he met Nobuko. They fell in love at first sight and got married. Nobuko was also from northeast China. She spoke fluent and standard Japanese, unlike her husband, who spoke Japanese with a thick northeast Chinese accent. The couple's barbecue restaurant was very unique, and the business was booming. They were well known in the local circles. People came to the restaurant in an endless stream. In 2020, affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, many shops in Ueno closed down due to operational difficulties. Takarajima Ryutaro keenly seized the business opportunity and acquired more than a dozen shops in one fell swoop. He renovated them and turned them into barbecue restaurants, sushi restaurants, Italian restaurants, etc., because these shops are very close. And on the same street, people jokingly call this street Treasure Island Street. Although the business is getting bigger and bigger, the Takarajima couple's reputation in the local restaurant industry is not very good. They often had disputes with other restaurant owners nearby, and even disturbed the police many times, leaving behind biometric data. This also allowed the police to confirm their identities, at once through DNA comparison. After the incident, the police came to the Takarajima couple's restaurants to learn about the situation. In one of the barbecue restaurants, they saw the couple's eldest daughter. When she learned of her parents' death, she seemed very sad. She pleaded with the police to find out the truth and bring justice to her parents. The eldest daughter said that her parents were hardworking business people. Although they had achieved financial freedom long ago, they still wholeheartedly devoted themselves to their work. They did everything themselves. They would almost always ride their bicycles to inspect the restaurants, or they would focus on researching new dishes. On the day of the incident, she happened to be away from home and did not know her parents' whereabouts. The police then visited other restaurants owned by the Takarajima couple. An employee said that on the evening of April 15th, around 8 p.m., they saw Takarajima Ryutaro come to the restaurant for inspection, and where he went after that was unknown. He never chatted with anyone, so people didn't ask him much about his personal life. Apparently, to cut costs, the shop hired mostly non-Japanese staff. They were working in Japan on temporary tourist visas. These workers were paid low wages and were highly compliant. Takarajima Ryutaro took advantage of this, employing a large number of foreign workers. He also had a habit. He could view surveillance footage from all his stores on his phone. Whenever he saw someone idle, he would immediately call the store to assign them work. Some employees told the police that, besides the owner's wife was also very harsh with the staff. She would frequently inspect the restaurant, and if she saw anyone slacking off, she would use it as an excuse to dock their pay. As a result, the restaurant had a high turnover rate. Almost every month, someone would quit because they couldn't take it anymore. But this didn't have a significant impact on the restaurant's operations, because they would quickly hire new staff to fill the positions. Based on this investigation, police suspected the Takarajima couple's actions had made them an enemy of one of their employees, leading to their murder. According to the investigation, a month before the incident, an employee, Mr. A, was fired. The two parties had a very unpleasant falling out. As Mr. A was leaving, he threatened to retaliate against the heartless couple. The police located Mr. A. To gather information, Mr. A stated that he indeed disliked the Takarajima couple and felt they never treated their employees well. They would constantly berate them. He simply couldn't take it anymore and resigned. But unexpectedly, on the day of his departure, the couple actually claimed they were going to withhold 3 days' wages. He was very angry about this, and got into a verbal argument with them. Out of anger, he made threats, claiming he would get revenge on them. But in reality, it was just empty talk. He never actually considered doing it. Furthermore, after leaving, he immediately found a new job through a friend's introduction. He simply didn't have time to bother with them. Mr. A's statement was also confirmed by his friend, who provided an alibi for him. Following this, the police visited other shops around the restaurant. Most people generally believed that the couple's character was poor. A ramen shop owner told the police that Takarajima Nobuko was thin and always wore heavy makeup, but had a very short temper. When she argued, she was very loud, and people nearby could hear her. Her husband, Takarajima Ryutaro, sometimes even cursed in Chinese. They didn't understand Chinese, so they didn't know what he was saying. But it definitely wasn't anything nice. In addition, the most offensive behavior of the Takarajima couple was that they often solicited business on the street. They would actively solicit anyone they saw on the street and bring them into their store. This behavior led to a decline in business for surrounding shops. As a result, many people disliked the couple. Some people even tried to negotiate with them, hoping they would stop this practice. But not only did they not listen, they angrily rebuked others, saying they were incompetent and blaming them for it, which caused widespread discontent. They not only didn't reflect on their behavior, but continued to do things their own way. For example, food waste should be sealed in a bag before being thrown into the trash can. But the Takarajima couple thought this was too troublesome, so they would directly dump the food waste into the trash can. The leftover food attracted a large number of cockroaches and rats. Because they had many stores, the sanitation of the entire street deteriorated. A barbecue restaurant owner said he often saw rats in his restaurant, which was very troublesome. Sometimes he would even receive complaints and reports from customers, saying that the restaurant's hygiene was substandard. To distance himself from the couple, the barbecue restaurant owner erected a wooden sign between his shop and the Takarajima's shop, telling them not to solicit business across the line. Especially Takarajima Nobuko. She was unreasonable and unruly, and would always pretend to be passing by, and kick the wooden sign to the ground. Such behavior was unbearable, and the barbecue restaurant owner argued with her. Later, it even escalated into physical conflict, alarming the police. Afterward, it went to court, resulting in a lawsuit. But even so, the Takarajima couple didn't restrain themselves at all. They still required their employees to stand on the street to solicit business. Sometimes they would also spread rumors, saying bad things about other shops, slandering their dishes as being leftovers from the previous day and not fresh, in order to attract customers to eat at their own restaurant. Based on this investigation, the police learned that the Takarajima couple had deep-seated grievances with other shops nearby. It was possible that someone hired the Yakuza to retaliate against them. The cross-shaped stacks at the crime scene looked very much like the work of the Yakuza. If something were to happen to the Takarajima couple, the other shop's business would improve. They would be the beneficiaries. Following this line of thinking, the police began secretly investigating whether the owners of the surrounding shops had any connection with Yakuza members. Sure enough, they discovered that Mr. B, the sushi restaurant owner, was frequently in contact with Yakuza members. Mr. B had previously paid Yakuza members to cause trouble outside the Takarajima couple's shop. Whenever someone came out to solicit business, they would be threatened and intimidated. The police located Mr. B to gather information. Unexpectedly, he stated frankly that he had indeed paid Yakuza members. because he simply couldn't stand the Takarajima couple and wanted to teach them a lesson. But he only wanted to scare them. He had no intention of harming them. Regarding their fate, he claimed he had no knowledge of it. To prove his innocence, Mr. B voluntarily provided the phone number of the Yakuza member he had contacted. After the police contacted the person, they confirmed Mr. B's statement. After further investigation, his suspicion was ruled out. The police reviewed a large amount of surveillance footage around the Takarajima couple's shop, and then made a new discovery. Surveillance footage shows, on April 15th, the day before the incident, at 9 p.m., Ryutaro Takarajima is seen in Ueno pushing a bicycle. Ameya Yokocho shopping street. His wife then appears in the surveillance footage, riding another bicycle. Around 11 p.m., the two get into a black car and leave. According to surveillance footage, in addition to the Takarajima couple, there are two other people in the car. They appear to know each other. They are talking and laughing. The surveillance camera captured a clear shot of the black car's driver. Facial recognition identified him as Ryota Zenta, 36 years old, a senior executive at a real estate company. The police immediately located him. Ryota Zenta stated that, on the night of April 15th, he did meet with the Takarajima couple, because they frequently sought him out for real estate purchases. They were very familiar with each other. A week before the incident, Ryutaro Takarajima called him to inquire, because he was too busy during the day, so they arranged to view a property on the night of April 15th. Another client who was also looking to buy a property accompanied them that day. He also wanted to buy a house in Shinagawa Ward, so he went with the Takarajima couple. Ryota Zenta told the police that, for convenience, he rented a car. Upon arriving at the destination, the group got out of the car to view the property. Since it was a newly developed complex, many of the units were empty. The Takarajima couple suggested going off on their own for a bit. So the group split up again. Ryota Zenta took the other client to view other properties. After a while, he called the Takarajima couple, but they wouldn't answer the phone. He searched the area thoroughly, but couldn't find them. He didn't think much of it at the time, assuming the Takarajima couple had something to take care of and left early. So he drove away with the other client. Based on the clues, the police went to Shinagawa Ward and searched the property the Takarajima couple had viewed. They found several drops of blood in the garage. DNA analysis confirmed that it belonged to the Takarajima couple. The police believe someone had laid an ambush in the house beforehand. When the Takarajima couple entered the house to view it, they were attacked by surprise. Ryota Zenta is a suspect. More evidence is needed. At this time, a man named Hirayama Raizen came to the police station to turn himself in, claiming to be involved in the case. He stated that his big brother asked him to purchase duct tape, rope, gasoline, and other items, and also lent out his car. The police asked him what his relationship was with the Takarajima couple. Hirayama Raizen said he didn't know them. He had never interacted with them before. He was just following his big brother's instructions. At 10 p.m. on April 15th, he drove his black car to a parking lot next to a convenience store in Asakusa Ward. He handed over the items and the car to two contacts, and then went home to sleep. He knew nothing about what happened next. It wasn't until he saw the news of the Takarajima couple's murder on television that he realized the items he purchased might be related to the case. Hirayama Raizen told the police he didn't know the identities of the two contacts. He had only had drinks with them once before, arranged by his big brother. They were mysterious and never revealed their identities. As for the identity of his big brother, Hirayama Ryzen said, he would never reveal it, because the other party is very powerful. The police asked to see his phone, but Hirayama Ryzen said, his big brother had already confiscated his phone. The purpose was to prevent the police from finding crucial evidence. The police believe this matter is related to the Yakuza. The big brother Hirayama Ryzen mentioned is likely a member of the Yakuza. Not long after, police found the black car in Koshigaya City, Saitama Prefecture. This location is 132 kilometers from Nasu town. After confirmation, it was the same car that the Takarajima couple were seen in on surveillance footage. In the trunk of the car, the police found a hammer with bloodstains. Bloodstains were also found on the back seat. DNA testing confirmed that they belonged to the Takarajima couple. Police speculate that the house was the primary crime scene, and then the bodies were transported to the riverside and burned. To find this big brother, the key is still Hirayama Ryzen. According to the investigation, he graduated from a vocational school in Tokyo. He worked as a painter. Since 2023, he has been working on a construction site in Saitama Prefecture. The police contacted his colleagues to gather information. Somewhat surprisingly, everyone considered Hirayama to be a reliable person. He doesn't talk much. He is also diligent in his work. He has a simple social circle. He is an honest man. His colleagues said they never heard him mention this big brother. During the investigation, some internet users found a video. The video was shot in 2023. In Ueno, Tokyo. The video shows the Takarajima couple arguing with people from another shop. Ryutaro Takarajima even cursed at them in northeastern Mandarin. The two sides were arguing fiercely, and almost came to blows. The police showed the video to Hirayama Ryzen, and asked him if the person arguing with the Takarajima couple was his big brother. But he denied it. He also said he would never reveal his big brother's identity, telling the police to drop the idea. The police believe that since Hirayama turned himself in, it shows he is a timid person. Following this line of thought, the police put pressure on him. As expected, Hirayama couldn't handle the pressure. He finally revealed his big brother's identity. His name is Sasaki Hikaru, 28 years old, born in a single-parent family in Fukuoka Prefecture. He lived with his mother since childhood. After graduating from junior high school, he entered society and worked as a waiter, insurance salesman, and other jobs. Sasaki Hikaru is an ambitious person who is unwilling to be mediocre. He wants to achieve great things, but he didn't have any particular skills. Gradually, he went down the wrong path. He broke the law and spent some time in juvenile detention. Although he wasn't doing well, many of his middle school classmates became successful members of society. Rumor has it that these included baseball player Shohei Ohtani and figure skater Yuzuru Hanyu. Perhaps seeing his classmates' success, Sasaki Hikaru also wanted to make a name for himself, but he ultimately turned to crime. After obtaining Hirayama Ryzen's testimony, the police immediately issued a nationwide warrant for Sasaki Hikaru's arrest. On April 29th, he was apprehended at the airport in Naha City, Okinawa Prefecture. He was attempting to fly back to his hometown in Fukuoka Prefecture. At the time of his arrest, several smartphones were found on him, including the one he used to contact Hirayama Ryzen. Based on the phone records, the police identified two other suspects. They were 20-year-old Japanese actor Wakayama Kurado and 20-year-old South Korean Kang Kwangjong. This discovery shocked the police, because Wakayama Kurado was somewhat famous in Japan. He had been talented since childhood, and appeared in numerous films and television dramas, such as Gunshir Kanbei, and Laughing Under the Clouds. He was once signed with Watanabe Entertainment Company, Ltd., one of Japan's leading entertainment agencies. Wakayama Karato was a skilled actor and a popular child star. He was once considered one of the most promising child actors. But as he grew older, he faded from the spotlight. No one expected him to reappear in public as a wanted criminal. Early in the morning on May 1st, police raided a hotel in Yamato City, Kanagawa Prefecture, and arrested Kang Kwangjong. They then arrested Wakayama Karato at a private residence in Chiba City, Chiba Prefecture. Initially, the suspects remained silent during police questioning. However, Sasaki Hikaru eventually broke down and confessed. He stated that someone had offered him 10 million yen to kill the Takarajima couple. He needed the money, so he agreed. But Sasaki Hikaru knew he couldn't do it alone. So he gathered a few of his close friends and promised them a share of the money upon completion. They didn't know the Takarajima couple. They were just doing it for the money.
Sasaki Hikaru, Hirayama Reisen.
Wakayama Karato and Kang Kwangjong met at a bar. They gradually became close friends and drank together frequently. They even gave themselves a catchy name, the Drinking Buddies, when they learned they could earn a substantial sum for murdering the Takarajima couple. They immediately agreed to commit the crime together. After discussing it, they planned to lure the Takarajima couple to a secluded location. They chose a vacant house in Shinagawa Ward. They then purchased hammers, tape, gasoline, and other tools. On the day of the crime, Wakayama Karato and Kang Kwangjong hid in the house. When the Takarajima couple approached, they attacked them with hammers, striking the back of their heads. Caught off guard, the couple instantly collapsed. They then strangled the couple with rope until they stopped breathing. Sasaki Hikaru and Hirayama Reisen tied up the Takarajima couple, stuffed them into the trunk of a car, and drove them to a remote forest in Nasu town. By a riverbank, they doused the bodies with gasoline and set them on fire. They thought this would cover their tracks. But the next morning, someone discovered the scene. The most puzzling aspect of the case for the police was the involvement of Wakayama Karato. He was a former child star and shouldn't have been short of money. Why would he resort to murder for financial gain? The release of the suspect's information caused a public uproar. People couldn't believe that Wakayama Karato could commit such a heinous crime. Many people struggled to accept the truth. However, after questioning Wakayama Karato, the police learned that the once bright and talented child star was now living in dire financial straits. After being discovered by a talent scout as a child, Wakayama Karato entered the entertainment industry and worked almost every day, leaving him little time for school. In high school, his mentality changed. He developed a sense of superiority and often looked down on others. He adopted flamboyant clothing and hairstyles to stand out. He only associated with people he considered attractive and picked up habits like smoking and drinking. He had no interest in studying. After graduating high school, he not only failed to get into college, but his acting career also plummeted. His appearance changed drastically, losing his childhood charm. Fewer and fewer people offered him roles. Wakayama Karato had always dreamed of becoming a soccer player. He took this opportunity to terminate his contract with Watanabe Entertainment and pursue his childhood dream. The dream is big. However, reality proved harsh. After leaving the entertainment industry, he not only failed to become a professional soccer player, but also struggled to make ends meet. He later met Kang Kwangjong, a South Korean, at a bar. The two hit it off. and became friends. They bonded over their similar experiences. Kang Kwangjong grew up in a wealthy family and had lived in Japan with his parents since he was a child. His parents were often away on business and rarely came home. They always gave him plenty of money, so he was seen as the rich kid by his classmates. Due to his parents' spoiling, he had no concept of money and spent lavishly. In high school, while other students took the bus, Kang Kwangjong took a taxi every day. He would sometimes generously offer rides to his classmates. His reputation for being wealthy and generous earned him many friends. He enjoyed being popular at school. He reveled in this feeling. As a result, he spent money even more recklessly. He often treated his classmates to lavish meals and threw parties. His extravagant lifestyle left him with no desire to study. His grades plummeted. However, this lifestyle vanished completely when his parents went bankrupt. Having grown accustomed to a lavish lifestyle, he found it hard to adjust to sudden frugality. The huge difference changed his personality drastically. He often clashed with his parents. Previously close classmates also gradually distanced themselves from him. After graduating high school, Kang Kwangjong became an unemployed bum. He spent his days with street thugs. When he ran out of money, he'd ask his parents and throw a fit if they didn't give it to him. And so, his parents could no longer tolerate their son's temper. In a fit of anger, they kicked him out. Cut off from his financial resources, he started committing petty crimes. It was during this time that he met Wakayama Karato. Later, he met Sasaki Hikaru and Hirayama Raizen. After the four were arrested, careful netizens dug up that before the incident, in March 2024, there was a video of Kang Kwangjong and Wakayama Karato being interviewed on the street together. During the interview, the two repeatedly mentioned money, showing that they were full of desire for money. Some people who saw it believed that it was not surprising for such people to commit illegal acts. But others thought that the reporter was deliberately guiding them to say that, in order to attract attention. Perhaps the two were a little nervous during the interview and blurted out those words. The police specifically found the reporter in the video for this reason. To ask about the real situation at the time, the reporter stated that they were randomly looking for people on the street to interview at the time. Because Kang Kwangjong and Wakayama Karato were fashionably dressed, they caught his attention. He then went up and asked if they were willing to be interviewed. The other party readily agreed. During the interview, the two did not show any signs of nervousness and seemed relaxed and positive. The reporter said that the interview questions were also random, and there was no deliberate guidance. Based on the clues already gathered, the police believe that the drinking buddies for group's motive for murdering the Takarajima couple was simply for money. According to the suspect Sasaki Hikaru's confession, the client offered 10 million yen to eliminate the Takarajima couple. Sasaki Hikaru kept 1 million yen for himself and gave the remaining 9 million yen to Hirayama Raizen. Faced with further questioning from the police, Hirayama Raizen stated that he kept 4 million yen for himself and divided the remaining 5 million yen between Wakayama Karato and Kang Kwangjong. That is, 2.5 million yen each. But Wakayama Karato and Kang Kwangjong said that Hirayama Raizen only gave them 2 million yen each. Although there were some discrepancies in the four statements, The fact is that they committed murder for money. In order to find the mastermind, the police questioned them separately. But to their surprise, except for Sasaki Hikaru, the other three insisted that they did not know the mastermind. They were only in it for the money, and never asked about anything else. Only Sasaki Hikaru had contact with that person, but he remained tight-lipped and refused to reveal the person's identity. During the investigation, a man named Harada Kunihiro voluntarily contacted the police and provided them with a crucial clue. It turned out that he was also in the restaurant business and was very familiar with the Takarajima couple. They often ate and chatted together, discussing restaurant management. The Takarajima couple lived with their 28-year-old eldest daughter. But the eldest daughter did not seem interested in running the restaurant. If she were to take over the store in the future, she might not be able to continue running it. However, the eldest daughter's boyfriend, who is also the Takarajima couple's prospective son-in-law, Sekai Narahata, is very skilled at running restaurants. Sekai Narahata is 32 years old this year and has a Neian relationship with the Takarajima couple's eldest daughter. In Japan, this refers to a relationship where two people are not formally married, but live together as husband and wife. The eldest daughter's boyfriend, Sekai Narahata, is very business-minded. He serves as the manager in the Takarajima couple stores, responsible for employee allocation between the various stores, food procurement and scouting for new stores, among other things. Initially, his outstanding work ability was recognized by the Takarajima couple. But as time went on, Sekai Narahata gradually became a bit too powerful for his own good. Employees in the store started calling him Boss Sekai, which made the Takarajima couple unhappy. In order to consolidate their position, they often put pressure on Sekai Narahata and assigned him more work. However, this trick not only did not stump him, but he also completed the work very well. Then, the Takarajima couple began to subtly and openly mock Sekai Narahata, saying nasty things to him. For example, Takarajima Ryutaro would privately warn Sekai Narahata, "I am the real boss. Please be clear about your position." Although Sekai Narahata is their son-in-law, the Takarajima couple is very assertive and does not want him to have too much power. Takarajima couple's friend Harada Kunihiro told the police that 2 days before the incident, when the Takarajima couple was eating with him, they even revealed that they wanted to remove Sekai Narahata from his position as manager. Unexpectedly, he was murdered after that. Initially, Harada also thought that this was retaliation from competitors in the same industry. But as the police investigated further, and more suspects were arrested, he gradually felt that this matter was not simple. Although the Takarajima couple is very busy during the day, they are not so busy that they don't have time to look at houses. Going to Shinagawa Ward to look at houses late at night seems very unreasonable, unless they were introduced by someone familiar, or went with someone they trusted very much. That's the only way it would make sense. And coincidentally, Sekai Narahata is usually responsible for scouting for new stores, so he is highly suspected of being involved in the crime. Harada did not act rashly at first. He was worried that he was overthinking things, and would wrongly accuse the other party. But what he didn't expect was that, on the 8th day after the incident, someone actually contacted him and said that they wanted to transfer all of the restaurants under the Takarajima couple's name at a low price. The other party claimed, if Harada is interested, he should make a decision quickly. Ideally, he should pay within a week. Harada found this very strange. He was an old acquaintance of the Takarajima couple and knew something about their situation, but he had never heard that they wanted to transfer the shop. Moreover, the person who contacted him seemed unfamiliar. He had never seen him before. He suspected it might be the idea of Sekai Narahata, the Takarajima's prospective son-in-law, because since the Takarajima couple's death, he had taken over the entire shop. So, the person who came to Harada was likely sent by Sekai Narahata. This action made him suspicious. Harada frankly expressed his suspicions to the police. He believed that Sekai Narahata was the mastermind behind the murder of the Takarajima couple. Out of fear of exposure, he was eager to transfer the shop, preparing to cash out and run away. Although the police had obtained a crucial lead, in order to avoid alerting the suspect, they did not take hasty action. They continued to interview people close to Sekai, hoping to gather more evidence. A friend of Sekai Narahata revealed that the Takarajima couple had a total of 14 restaurants. Sekai Narahata personally designed and built 5 of these restaurants, and the turnover of these 5 restaurants was higher than the others. However, the Takarajima couple did not consider this to be Sekai Narahata's achievement. They greedily pocketed all the money earned, which made Sekai Narahata very dissatisfied. He complained about it to his friend many times. The couple also stated that they were very traditional and felt that without a marriage certificate they were not a family. So they were always wary of this son-in-law, and were always on guard against him. Even though his wife tried to persuade them many times, it was useless. The friend also told the police that Sekai Narahata had said that it would be great if the Takarajima couple could disappear from the world, so that he could take over all the shops. He also stated that the Takarajima couple's business philosophy was very problematic, and that they were always in conflict with their peers, cursing at people at every turn, which seemed very uncultured. Sekai Narahata told his friend that if they got into trouble, no matter how hard I try, I'm helpless. I hope they retire as soon as possible. May 2024. Police arrested Sekai Narahata on suspicion of murder. Then they began to question him. Soon he couldn't bear the pressure and confessed to the crime. He said that he had long disliked the Takarajima couple and wanted to get rid of them and then take over the shops himself. So, he tricked them under the guise of buying a new store to go see a property in Shinagawa Ward on the night of April 15th. He had paid Sasaki Hikaru in advance, and also found his friend Ryota Zenta to help persuade the Takarajima couple. Since Ryota Zenta had handled the purchase of the new shops before, the Takarajima couple trusted him very much. Once everything was ready, they tricked the two into an empty house in Shinagawa Ward, killed them, and then, to destroy the evidence, transported them to Nasu town for cremation. After Sekai Narahata confessed, Ryota Zenta was immediately arrested by the police. As of press time, the case is still under investigation. More details have yet to be revealed. Everything is still undecided. Perhaps there will be a reversal.